Hey, how's everyone doing? My name is Billy B Gaming. I thank you for stopping on my channel and checking out the top 5 video games you didn't know would turn into board game. And the way I'm going to do this, basically, I'm going to go through each one starting at number 5, and then I'm going to kind of explain a little bit about the board game in association with the video game. And so let's go ahead and get started on number 5, Assassin's Creed. And so Assassin's Creed, one of the most successful video game franchises out there, made the board game very similar to the video game, Assassinations. That's the main goal of the whole board game, is to make the most successful assassinations as possible, as well as collecting cards, treasures, and dealing with guards, and being as sneaky as possible. But you gotta make sure you make the assassinations at the right time, or you risk failure. The player health is linked to the amount of cards in their hand, which is also used to perform actions to make the assassinations. They say this game is very balanced and represents the video game very well. However, the downfall is the lack of mechanics or depth. It's a very simple game. And so that's basically it in regards to our number 5 pick, Assassin's Creed. Now moving on to number 4 is Bioshock, which I was very surprised to see that they actually had a board game for the video game. And basically how it works is both sides must construct a force powerful enough to seize control of Colombia. And to do this, players win battles to gain territory, as well as completing significant and challenging objectives. Now the gameplay is very risk and reward. The combat plays out similar to the video game, which is a very nice touch. And that being said, there's extra events and upgraded cards that keep things fresh, like the ability to take control of the main character, Elizabeth and Booker, and they can basically sway battle one way or the other. Now the reviews on this game is that it represents the video game very well. It's very bright, colorful, and the board has a great art style, as well as it has player figures that pop up nicely. That's our number 4 pick, Bioshock, the board game. And so our number 3 pick is Resident Evil. So the board game is basically a deck building game where players are set in the mansion and have to fight off hordes and hordes of zombies. And so you play with characters like Chris Rayfield or Jill Valentine and many more characters, and basically you start with combat basic with decks and slowly build your character with weapons and gear based on pulling cards from the deck. There are basically 3 different modes. So you got story mode, which pit players against each other to see who survives the longest against the zombies. Mercenary mode, which is less about the defensive and more about killing as many zombies as possible in a short amount of time. And versus mode, which removing the zombies and putting the player characters directly against each other. And so that's basically how you play the Resident Evil deck building board game. So let's move on to our number 2 pick on the countdown, which is the video game Portal. Now, how they made a board game out of Portal, I'm not quite sure. But basically how the board game works is each player has a number of test subjects alive at the beginning of the game, and you must transport and portal through test subjects from room to room, because at the end of each turn, one of the test chambers on the board gives away and is destroyed, killing any subject within. If you have more subjects killed on one turn than the other or everyone else, you get cake as a parting gift. And so the person with the most cake basically at the end of the game wins the game. So it's very simple. It sounds very stupid to me, but if you love the video game, then you probably love the board game. And so that's basically number 2 on the countdown, is the video game Portal. And so now we at the number 1 spot, and I'm pretty sure y'all can guess what that is, which is none other than World of Warcraft. So the board game is basically a team-based game where each player chooses either to be allies with the Horde or the Alliance, and you travel through the world on the board game collecting loot, slaying mobs, and powering up for the final objective of the board game. Of course, if you'd rather be the victor by deciding to eradicate the other teams while ignoring the overlord, then you can definitely do that also. Now the scope of the game is pretty crazy. You get basically hundreds of different components from cards, tokens, character figurines, and basically a whole bunch of different things. Very complex game. And the reviews of the game is very great. I mean, everyone loved the game. If you love Warcraft, you'll love the game because it represented very well. In Warcraft, there's a whole bunch of things you can do and explore, and the board game is very similar to that. And so the #1 spot on the board, which is well deserved, is World of Warcraft board game. And so basically that breaks down the top 5 on my list. If you disagree or basically have your own top 5 list, please post them in the comments below. I'll read them, and I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with. So I thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and have a good day.